Halloween.
Forever.
Good evening, gentlemen. Do you know where Bigfoot stores his six-packs?
No. Where?
He keeps them in his Yeti.
Oh.
Welcome, everybody, to another fabulous episode of the Halloween is Forever podcast. I'm Steve.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben,
Yes. Ben is
the
back.
resident Bigfoot expert. Yeah.
We're talking tonight about Bigfoot the movie, the sequel, and I thought it would be wholly unfair to our audience to disclude our resident Bigfoot
Thank you.
expert. However,
Let's get it out right now.
however, boy, is he should be on some punishment time.
Oh, yeah, right. Because I gave you, I had the nerve to give you guys a movie as a punishment that was hard to watch. God forbid. It was a punishment movie.
He sounds awful defensive.
It's more in that, one, you didn't show up for the punishment film either. Two, it is quite literally the worst thing I have ever seen in my life that isn't just a straight up YouTube poop like edit that screams in your ear. The mere fact that I had to go on a deep dive and learn that the maker of Bigfoot Goes to Hell is from Pittsburgh fucking bummed us all out, knowing that we produced as a community, we allowed that shit to exist and has ties to our community.
I had so many people message me and tell me how much you guys hated it. I never even, that's one of the few episodes that I've ever missed. I couldn't listen to it at all. I was too nervous. I was going to be attacked.
You were.
I still have the notes on my phone from that. I watched that movie twice.
Ugh.
I was ready twice.
Ugh.
Yeah, man. And I just thought, you know what? You guys were doing the Christian propaganda films, so that kind of went into the hell stuff. And I'm big. It had to be Bigfoot based. So you know what? That's what you get. And you don't get upset. Well, you get upset. You definitely get upset.
No, we got upset.
You got real upset.
Yeah. So I mean, look, there's a little bit of forgiveness on my end because I understand the desire to unleash terrible films upon people.
Yeah.
I probably have picked the worst films before you, in that, I've unleashed things like fish piss on people, and I've unleashed a movie that was all about diarrhea turning people into zombies. So I get it. It's just that movie was Bigfoot Goes to Hell is the most unwatchable thing that exists. Unless you watch Bigfoot versus the Illuminati or Trump versus the Illuminati or any of the other films that filmmaker has made. Don't
forget about Bigfoot versus the Krampus. There's a Krampus,
right.
Bigfoot versus Krampus.
Yeah, there's a holiday film, and we're not covering it on this one.
Oh, come on.
So for those that are curious, where would one be able to find this movie?
Tubi. It's all Tubi.
All right.
It's
Okay.
all Tubi. Yeah. It's all Tubi trash. There's just a really unscrupulous filmmaker, in quotes, who just he hires shitty animators and then puts over even shittier voiceover, and they're just these meandering diatribes that don't make any sense, and they're fucking awful.
Oh, this is an animated film?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
There's not one live person in it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
This sounds like a treat.
And they're all connected in this larger universe. And in that larger universe, Satan is in a wheelchair, but you have to watch 3 movies before that to figure out why Satan's in a wheelchair. It is terrible. And so we're mad at Ben for making us watch one of those movies.
Thanks,
Fair.
thanks, Ben.
Fair.
Yeah.
And I'll know better next time. I mean, there was a part of me. I asked some other podcast friends of mine. I'm like, is this too bad? And they're like, no, it's a punishment. Fuck them. And yeah,
That is the proper response.
Look,
Yeah.
again, I'm ambivalent to it.
You get it.
On the one hand, I had to watch it and I hate that film. On the other hand, maybe I would have done it at some point.
All right.
I think maybe that's what I'm more mad about is like, I don't know that I'll ever find a worse film for myself to inflict on others.
Okay. All right. That's good. I'll think of it like that from now on.
I'll be, open and honest. Like there's a little bit of jealousy on my part that I'll have to work really hard to inflict something worse.
Thanks. That's a better way for me to look at it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Good.
But we're not talking about that bullshit tonight.
No, we're not. Not today.
We're talking Bigfoot, the movie, the sequel, the other Pittsburgh production, the one that we like, the other Bigfoot movies from Pittsburgh that we like.
Which is really weird to find out that Pittsburgh is a Bigfoot town.
Yeah. And I mean, again, this is our resident expert Ben's kind of forte because we had him on the first episode that we did Bigfoot the movie.
Yeah, and Western Pennsylvania is a bit of a Bigfoot hotbed, if you will. There's been a lot of sightings and reports out here, so this movie is very relevant to, and it could happen. This all could be true, based on true events, probably.
Possibly. Also based on Scooby-Doo, more than likely.
Yes, definitely.
But before we get into the film, we got some other pieces of business to handle, including what's everybody drinking on tonight? You got that?
So I've got, you know me, I love to get drunk on these things. I've got how many beers? I think 6 beers in there. What I'm going to start with and what I'm going to talk about is going to be a dark beer, a little bit of Von Trapp.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's their smoked dark lager.
Ooh.
Now,
Yeah.
which one is that? Because they have a couple out there.
Trosten.
Ah, okay. I just picked that up and I almost brought it on the show tonight.
It's really, really good. I really enjoy it. I was going to a meeting and I needed to bring some beer. Unbeknownst to me, this beer distributor does not sell 6-packs or 12-packs, only cases. So
Ooh.
I had to buy a case. So I've got a lot.
Are they stuck in 2004?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Right down there in Millvale. If you go past Grist's house, keeps going to the corner. Yep, that's the spot. I forget the name, but cases only.
Wow.
Well, on the one hand, they do cases only, but on the other hand, they at least do cases of Von Trapp. So it's,
Right? Yeah, you can't be all mad.
Yeah,
yeah. But this beer is great. And then once I'm out of this, I've got some my desert island beer is Fathead's Headhunter. So once I go through a couple of these, Headhunter the rest of the night.
Gotcha.
Right on.
Yeah.
Adam, we've discussed that you're not drinking a whole lot.
That is correct.
Do you have a nice thing with you?
I was gonna have a gin and tonic, but I don't have any gin, so it's just the tonic. I'm just having myself a nice severed lime here, Liquid Death, a classic. It's nice. It's nice.
Fair enough.
Do we think he's actually looking for the gin? This was the same story last week. He didn't have the vodka. He just had the tonic.
Yeah,
Well,
he just had the cranberry last time.
Yeah. I don't know if he's really looking for the alcohol in these drinks real hard.
Next time it'll be a rum and coke without the rum.
And it'll just be a Pepsi.
Yeah, and then the time after that'll be a screwdriver without the vodka.
Mountain Dew without the moonshine.
I've never actually mixed those two together, moonshine and Mountain Dew.
That was the original purpose of it.
But, it absolutely was, but I've never ventured down that path.
Yeah. You just, I don't know. I would be interested to see if it works with apple pie moonshine. Yeah. I've been out of the game of mixing a lot.
I don't feel that apple pie moonshine needs to be mixed with anything. It's good enough on its own.
I know, but maybe give it a little citrus and brighten it up from the Mountain Dew. See what's up. Then maybe try it with a Baja Blast. See what's happening. You just got to experiment, Adam.
That's well, I mean, after you get through 1 or 2 servings of apple pie moonshine, it doesn't matter. So you can just, you can experiment away. But I feel that, you usually mix in to kind of take the harsh off of it. But with apple pie moonshine, there's no harsh. It's just delicious. And then you get in trouble. And then you're drunk floating in a pool at 2 PM on a Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah. Like apple pie moonshine is the kind of stuff that if you drink too early, you're sweating out in the sun.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the meat sweats with a hangover.
Right. Yes. Well, for me, I'm drinking somewhat down that line. It's fruity. So it's not, a dark, smoky lager boy. And I'm not drinking gin and tonics because gin is terrible. But I do have I'm still in the holiday spirit. And I just had to go get my classic, which is the Shiner Holiday Cheer.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah, which is their peaches and pecans. And I like it. It's just, I always have one every year. And it's that one little thing that cuts against all the stouts and all the deep caramel stuff that I'm always drinking and all the deep browns and all those other dark beers I mentioned last week and all the tiramisu beers I drink from Southern Tier and the creme brulees. Just a nice light 5-4 peaches and pecan. Ale. Pleasant.
Refreshing.
That does sound refreshing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to buy an entire case of that, or were they able to get into this decade?
Yeah.
I did not. I just picked it up at the Mix and Match Eagle, which is where I also picked up a can of the Von Trapp Trosten.
Nice.
So I got singles. Cool. Singles.
Loser.
Well,
I'll be
whatever.
drinking this stuff for the next month.
Well, yeah, but at least it'll keep for the next month, so that's fine.
It will. Yeah.
Moving on. Earlier in the month, we talked about what our showdown topic was going to be, and that came up as the best movies with bad titles. And so,
Not what I voted for, by the way, but that's fine.
well, sorry, Ben. You all get one vote.
Yeah,
But-
vote
I tried my best.
vote harder next time.
Yeah, vote
I'll
harder.
vote harder.
Vote harder. Like, there's 4 social media platforms. Did you put your vote in on all of them? I don't think you did.
No, I didn't.
All right, then. Vote harder. But with that, yes, we did pick the best movies with bad titles. And so, what I'm going to do now is splice in Steve from the future. It's me, Steve from the future. And I'm here to tell you, our first 2 entrants into the showdown will be Brian's pick, Magic 1978, featuring Anthony Hopkins as a ventriloquist dummy and the ventriloquist himself. And then I will be picking Crawl from 2019, featuring a hurricane and an alligator. So be on the lookout for those as our first 2 entrants into a new type of showdown. 3, 2, 1. And so those are the movies you can expect on the first Monday of January. That's what
Those
happens.
sound great. Great
Yes, they
pick,
do.
Steve.
Yeah, yes.
Oh,
Top
man.
shelf effort.
Those are the movies we'll be showing down with. And so turn out for that episode on Monday. Just like every Monday, we release some of that sticky, sweet, unctuous content for you. And remember, every first Monday of every month is the showdown. So be on the lookout. We'll have that coming up. In the meantime, the other thing you can do to support the show is go on to patreon.com/HalloweenIsForever. And that's where we have a whole bunch of other things for you, including a monthly exclusive podcast called Youth Group Is Forever. Now, Youth Group Is Forever is where Brian is forcing me to watch a bunch of Christian horror films, and they fucking stink. They're terrible. But it is revenge for me making him watch all of the Fast and the Furious movies, which also stink and terrible.
So I'm genuinely curious if there are any actual good Christian horror movies out there?
There's maybe one.
That's more than I
Sort
thought.
of. Maybe more than one, sort of. I haven't watched the film yet, but I think it's possible. It's a yeah.
It has potential.
It has potential. Also, depends on how, kind of how you define it, because you can look at films like The Exorcist as Christian horror films.
Oh, okay. You're not wrong.
Because technically they're fighting the devil.
That's right.
Like, you know, that was always the fun thing when Doom came out, right?
Mhm.
The video game. There was a lot
remember.
of people who were up in arms about it, and they're like, "Oh, you can't fucking play Doom. It's too violent, and it'll make the kids crazy." But there was like a few priests out there who were like, "Hey, you're fighting demons. It's not bad."
Yeah.
Right. You should be fighting
That's
those things.
For the greater
Yeah.
good.
It's like,
Yeah.
you should be shooting them. You're fighting demons. Get them. So, like, which really was just like a priest who was like, "Look, this is like the only vice I get to do.
Yeah.
I get to smoke cigarettes and play Doom. Like,
Don't take this from me.
yeah, don't take this from me. Bug off." So, other things you get on the Patreon, though, you get reviews and recos, doing write-ups of films from all genres. You get on the Discord. You get to hang out in the Discord while we record episodes live. You can interact with us. You can interact with Ben when he shows up, and you can yell at him. You know, Adam, you have to wait for Christmas time. He comes around then. He's like Santa Claus for the podcast.
It's true.
Yeah, but you get all those wonderful things, and you also get an extra vote in those important showdown polls.
You mean you can vote harder?
Yeah, you can vote harder. Sign up, and you get to vote harder. But with all that out of the way, we now get into the movie.
Let's talk about
Yes,
this.
let's.
Bigfoot the movie, the sequel. What did you guys think? I'll start with Adam, actually. Did you take the time to watch the original first?
I did not. But I don't
Okay.
feel that I needed that for this movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Because-
yeah, I mean, it's not like you were going to be lost, but yeah.
Right. Once you realize what the movie is, you don't need anything going into it. And I'm
Sure.
not gonna
Okay.
lie, I laughed my ass off at this movie.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it. I thought this is gonna be terrible within the first 3 minutes, and then by the 10-minute mark, I was in. I had bought in on what they were doing.
It'll do that to you.
Yep.
Great. That's one. Ben, what did you think? You've seen the original, so you kind of
I've seen the original.
You knew what to
Yeah.
expect going in.
I don't know if maybe I definitely liked the original more.
Mhm.
I don't know if it was from the novelty perspective of it. Just I have better feelings back then. I associate it better. This was still fun. I thought it had a lot of great positives to it. Some of the lines of Pittsburgh Dad were hilarious. Like I thought his jokes were great.
Mhm.
But I think number one is still my favorite. I think.
Yeah. I would agree with you. I think
Yeah.
the uniqueness and the novelty of just like the original existing was very funny, and it was done in earnest, which I think the twist of this film maybe kind of like pulls it back.
How so?
Okay, well,
Do we want to wait until we get towards the end of the movie to discuss it?
I mean, look, if you're listening to this show, you know we spoil, so I'll just spoil it up front. But the Bigfoot in the original film is real.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think by turning this into a Scooby-Doo, by making the Yeti not real, and it's actually a Scooby-Doo case, just kind of like lessens the impact. It doesn't hold true to the original film. Like, yeah, they did something new, but I just kind of don't think it works.
It wasn't a good new.
Yeah. It was taking a chance, and I think it works if you consider like the way the costume is.
Mm-hmm.
Like the costume in this film is pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, it is.
But the costume in the original is actually really good. So it makes sense. Like they kept it making sense in the film.
Mm-hmm.
That the original costume was good, and so it looked like a good Bigfoot. Now it looks bad, and so it makes sense that it's not an actual Bigfoot in the end because it's a like shit costume. Mm-hmm. Like it was just a guy running around in the woods of Seven Springs and Hidden Valley fucking with people. So
well, for me, since I had not seen the original, I didn't know that. So I just assumed that it was kind of just that the costume was just kind of part of the overall camp of the whole movie. Mm. Yeah. So that was one of those things where I just sort of accepted it for what it was. Like, it's just, you know, it's a budget thing. All right, I'll buy in.
Right.
Because without knowing any better, it does fit in very well. Like he's bringing samurai swords that he bought behind the grocery store to fight this thing. And he would fight a Bigfoot that looks like that.
It was the Big Lots. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Big Lots got some grocery, but it also mostly has sofa. So you gotta understand.
It's mostly sofa.
It's mostly sofa. So yeah, we'll jump back in. We'll jump into the plot a little bit on this. So Bigfoot the movie, the sequel. Obviously, it's the sequel. And we rejoin the three heroes of that in Burl, Chuck, and Dale. Just the three most Western PA guys you've ever met. Like anybody who watches this film from outside of our little, kind of ecosphere, as you would call it, our biome of Western PA, of terrible Yinzer accents and just, bad behavior.
Do we think this movie will ever make it outside of our biome?
I think
of Western
so.
PA?
Yes,
I think so.
Of course
okay.
It will.
There are
right,
listeners nation and worldwide. Listen to this right now.
Yeah. We for sure are going to at least nab 2 or 3 British people, if we haven't already, again, with the original episode that we did on Bigfoot the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to nab 2 or 3 British people up in this, and they're going to go, oh, the accents is pretty wacky, isn't they?
Spot on.
Got him.
Uh-huh. Killed it.
Got him. But yes, we rejoin Chuck, Burl, and Dale, and we're years later, and the kind of the sheen. It's a classic sequel trope, but the sheen of all their good deeds. It's like Ghostbusters 2. All the good they did in the first movie is washed off, and they're still kind of seen as the jokes of the town. So, but they get offered a new job, and it's to hunt Yetis out in the Seven Springs. Like they don't say it, but it is. That's where they filmed.
But it is.
Yeah, they filmed in Seven Springs and they filmed in Hidden Valley, and those are our 2 local ski resorts in Western PA for people on the travel.
It seemed like were the big shots at Seven Springs and everything inside was at Hidden Valley.
It might have been. I'm not much of a skier. I've been
to Seven Springs a lot, but so I didn't recognize any of the inside parts. I didn't recognize.
I was the same exact way.
Never been to Hidden Valley. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think like the big drone and the helicopter shots over the top, I do believe those are Seven Springs because that looked kind of familiar to me.
Yeah.
But
yeah. The express lift, that was 100% Seven Springs. Like I've seen that 100 times. I know exactly where that's at.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Great. Adam will be our resident ski expert to compare with our resident Bigfoot expert. Yeah. Look, I don't know either that much, so you guys got to carry the water.
You win.
But yeah, before we get there, though, our reintroductory scene is the classic birthday party held at a VFW or
I love that.
fire hall, or like I don't know. I know it's some sort of community building, but And it's a community building in Western PA because it has a gravel parking lot.
So I was doing a little bit of research about this. I didn't find anything out because there's nothing on IMDb about this movie or anything about it. But at least it had the cast. So I was looking at the cast, and no one had any headshots except for one person. And I went to, and that name looked so familiar. So I went to his IMDb page, and I know I've seen his face before, and I don't know him personally, but he ended up being the boyfriend of a friend of mine. And he played the magician in this party. And he's like a big time Pittsburgh magician and travels. And so he was a legit magician and somehow got the role of the magician at the fire hall gig.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other thing about these movies is you're more likely to recognize someone because of an actual personal relationship.
Yeah.
Rather than
I just recognize the last name from Instagram. I'm like, I've seen that before. And no shit, it was him.
Yeah. Like,
it was great.
We talked about this on the first episode, but Brian personally knows the director of the film, Jared Show. And then he knew like a bunch of the other people in this because he grew up in Elwood City where, the opening scenes of this film are filmed and where the original film was filmed. So like Brian actually knew like a bunch of these people personally. You also get like occasional cameos. I guess you call them cameos,
because Helga, is it Helga, the Russian woman?
Yeah. Helga.
Mm-hmm.
Helga. She's an actress, right? She's been in other things. She's not from Elwood City, I don't think.
I don't think she's from Elwood City, maybe. But also, I don't think she's from outside of Pittsburgh either.
Oh, dang it. Yeah, I didn't look that far into her history. She could be.
Yeah, well, it's just her name is Christine Mancini.
Oh.
And so,
all right. Yep.
Yeah. She also aside from these films, she also features in Shingles the movie, which is directed by the director of the Carousel movies. So
okay,
she's a pretty local, and just having the last name Mancini, assumedly it puts her in our area. She also has an upcoming role in something called Fort Pitt Motel.
Ooh.
Fort Pitt Motel. Yes.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So again, still not leaving the area too much.
No.
So I'm assuming she's part of our local actors. But yeah.
My God, I'll talk about it. It's unrelated, but I think I know the Fort Pitt Motel. It's right here, like it's a town over from me.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty exciting. Yeah, it's right in like Oakdale, so I gotta check that out. Okay, go ahead, continue. Sorry, I got distracted.
So it's we also get the return of Kurt Wooten as Chuck, who is our again, he's probably kind of broken out of the biome with his viral character Pittsburgh Dad.
Yeah,
and I'm sure many of football fans would be very aware of him because I'm sure he's got his videos shit talking the various NFL teams get sent around to people to taunt them and their team. I assume that happens whenever whatever team plays the Steelers. I don't know how to shit talk, but here, I'll let him shit talk for me and send you this video.
But does he address this movie I don't follow his social media very tightly, but does he kind of promote this film now that it's out and available? Do we know?
Strangely, he does, sort of.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if he mentioned it at all.
So I think I mentioned this to you, Ben, when I was looking for this film, because this film came out like in 2022. I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
Like it had a Pittsburgh kind of premiere. Yeah, it had a Pittsburgh premiere, and then you could.
Right. Okay, I remember that. Yeah.
And then you could buy it on DVDs directly from Jared Show, and then, but at some point they got picked up by the distributor that's at the front of this film, Wild Eye, they got picked up by that distributor, and then the film disappeared until literally last month, and then it got put up on YouTube and Google Play as the only places you could rent it. So yeah, this film has been gone for a while, but I was just curious one day looking for this film, looking for something to watch for the podcast, obviously. And I was like, why did we never do Bigfoot the movie, the sequel? And it's like, oh yeah, because it's not out anywhere. And in that research, I found just a random YouTube comment from Kurt Wooten on just like I think it was on the trailer of this movie, or the trailer of the original movie, and somebody was asking, hey, where's the sequel at? And then he put a comment and he's like, it'll be out in a couple months. And I'm like, what? Is that true? Why is there no news? I couldn't find anything else anywhere else. Nothing on Facebook, nothing on anywhere else. It's just a random comment from Kurt Wooten's personal YouTube channel that said,
all right, that makes sense.
Yeah, it'll be out in a couple months. And then like it was. So I was like, okay, great.
Okay.
But yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, Kurt Wooten's back. And then basically everybody who was in the original movie is back in some way or some form. Another kind of local celebrity is Aaron Kleiber. He's the one playing DJ Skis.
That's who that was.
Yeah.
I knew that had to be somebody.
Who is that? I don't know who that is.
Aaron Kleiber is a local stand-up comedian, and he's on a couple podcasts in the area. But yeah, he's relatively known in like the stand-up comedy space. But yeah, other than that, I don't think we get too many more recognizable like Pittsburgh names. Like the first movie had like Darius Chisholm in it, so we had not as many. There's not
definitely not.
Yeah, not as many cameos in this one, but
no one signed up for the sequel.
Yeah, well, it saved them money to rent helicopters.
Yeah, you're right. I never thought of that, the actual logistics of that. Yeah, they did have to pay for that somehow.
Yeah, yeah. Somehow they had to pay for it. There is a lot of there's a lot of what you would call production value in this movie. Like, even though we don't have the Pittsburgh cameos, there's a lot of production value in anytime you see like a cop car or an ambulance, or like they filmed at the literal like airstrip. I think probably the Beaver County airport. Like, you're filming at actual airports. Like, you can't do it guerrilla style is what you can't do.
Yeah. Permits, licensure.
Yeah.
You got to be on the up and up.
You got to tell the authorities that you're going to do it.
Yeah. You can't just call 911 and have an ambulance show up and be like, hey, can we borrow you for 10 minutes for a couple of shots?
So you got to tell the authorities when you do that kind of stuff. But it does add to the production value of your product, because you go, oh, look at all that stuff. Look, they must have so much money going on. And then they filmed at, the actual ski resorts. Granted, they filmed during the off season when nobody's there and there's no snow on the ground, but they still filmed.
That was a fun angle of the movie too. I really enjoyed, was just like the fact that place, those ski resorts looked exactly as if they were they would in June or May.
Mm-hmm.
They were dead. They were boring. There were still a couple people around, but it sucked. And Chuck had a terrible time. He wanted more people. He wanted a bigger party, and he couldn't do it because no one fucking came.
He wanted the party and nobody would let him. Big shame. But yeah.
Oh.
So we do get a little bit of snow in the beginning. We get that cold open where we get our first 3 victims, and it's a pretty funny scene. I enjoyed it. It's a good setup, and you go, "Oh, this time we're dealing with damn Yetis."
Not damn Yankees.
Not damn Yankees.
No.
Damn Yetis.
Even worse.
Yetis. But yeah, once we shift to our 3 heroes, it's very clear that it's in the off season. It's probably like, I don't know when they filmed, because it looks like they're filming in March. because it still looks.
Yeah, I'd say March or April.
Yeah.
A little bit
Yeah.
green, but not very green at all.
Yeah, it still looks wet and cold, but then
Yeah.
all the, like you said, ski resort stuff looks like June. So yeah, they get, Hilga from the first film approaches them and gives them this kind of promise that, hey, we need to hire you again, and we got another Bigfoot problem. They're like, another one? How could it be? But this time they're going to get paid. And this made me laugh my ass off when she told them that they're going to get paid $30,000. And it just made them light up. And I was like, it's not a lot of money, but that's a lot of money in Western PA.
Heck yeah, it is. Yeah, I love that group of three dudes. I just that's such a great little friendship that they portray, and just they're all living their life. Burl is what? Burl's married, clearly.
Right.
Dale broke up with his ex, and he's still kind of recovering from that. And Chuck he's never going to settle down. That guy's he's a stallion. He's out there. He's no one can, you can't tame him.
He's chucking around.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not too dissimilar from the Trailer Park Boys. Like they're
Right,
not
yeah.
too far off, but I think they kind of split Ricky into two different characters, or maybe transpose Ricky and Bubbles with Burl and Chuck, and like
a little bit of both in each. Yeah.
Whereas Ricky in Trailer Park Boys is married and has a kid and has like responsibilities and stuff, and Bubbles is the more logical kind of clear-headed one, but he's single.
Mm-hmm.
They switch that and just let Chuck be full bore Ricky, like no responsibilities,
None.
chasing down Poon, doing all that. And then Nate who plays Dale, he's in the middle and he's basically Julian. Yeah, he's going to get some drinks in him, and yeah, he's going to chase women.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I forgot about Julian. That's a good analogy.
yeah. In both cases, like there's an extremely good amount of chemistry between the actors. Both because like they're just friends in real life, and because they already did the movie once, so they have their characters down. They know the roles they're supposed to be playing, and so yeah, that's one of the things that really works in the sequel is like, oh yeah, we just know these guys. We know how they are, and we know what to expect. The one thing we definitely can expect from Chuck is the running joke of what is his current spit cup.
Which is a great running joke. It's wonderful.
Yes.
So many different spit cups in this movie, and they address almost all of them, and it's hilarious every time.
I mean, I don't even know that because I'm skimming through the movie, and I don't even think they address most of them. They address some of them. There's one.
Okay, some of them.
Yeah, there's one where he's spitting into a can of beans. Like it's and it's not brought up. And I dare you to tell me what scene that is. Because
I cannot remember.
Exactly.
No.
I have no clue.
Yeah. So there's one where he's using, a can of beans as a spittoon. There's another where he's using just a takeout to go container. It's so disgusting.
I do remember my favorite, of course, were the balloons that he made for the birthday party in the very beginning of the movie at the VFW.
Yeah.
Which was a mix of spit and what was it? Spit and beer, or just spit?
I think it was just mostly spit. And he's just like, well, you're always telling me I can't spit there, can't spit here, so I did this. I put the Splatoon balloons together.
It's not like they're going to break or anything.
The stakes. that was a scene that got me. That was the one where it hooked me in, and I knew what it was going to be the rest of the way. I thought that was fantastic.
It was really good. Yeah, just imagine the viscosity of what was inside those balloons. Just gross. So gross.
Did you, I don't know, Ben, you seem like you might have at some point. Did you dip at any point in your life?
No, never.
Okay.
I tried it once, and it just made me, I didn't know what I was doing, so just got really sick.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Never did. But man, he makes it look good. Like he makes it look really tasty and makes me want to dip. I might try it. I might start just because of John.
Ben getting hooked on Zins as his
I guess no one dips anymore. It's Zins.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Become a Copenhagen man if you want. I don't want to stop you.
No. You know what? I might
got to get that ring in the back pocket somehow.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you brought it up earlier about how Dale, he broke up with the love of his life from the first film.
Still reeling, yeah.
This was kind of the thing that hooked me back into the film, like series. Like I knew what I was getting into, but just very funny at the beginning of the movie when he's outside of the community center and just weeping openly, and in the foreground is a big waste management dumpster just in the framing. I was just like, and then the gravel parking lot, and just like everything about that, I was just like, it's so pathetic, but also like, I don't know.
But also that could be,
but it's so
that could be
real.
any of us right
Exactly.
now. I mean,
it's so pathetic, but it's also so real.
Yeah, it's so real. I know, like, I've never been there, but I knew what that place smelled like.
Yeah.
I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, you just know.
And I'll guarantee you it was 5 degrees colder than it should have been.
Right. Yeah. For some reason, it was colder than the outside. Once they decide, though, to take on this contract, we get a protracted gearing up scene, which is actually just them getting drunk in a garage.
Which was a great hangout scene, by the way.
Yeah.
That looked like so much fun. Chuck had that old classic car that I guess he was restoring, and they get drunk in there, they fall asleep, and just like the conversations of like, all right, I'm gonna go to bed, but after one more beer, right? Yeah. After one more beer. And that's just like, well, I would say the same thing.
The one thing that stood out to me, and I mention this all the time, and you touched on it earlier with production value. The vehicle selection in this movie was fantastic.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Good point.
Yeah. And I'm sure these vehicles are actually personal to most of them, or they know who the owners are.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they're not renting these.
Right. And honestly, it was a little bit surprising because I forget. I don't know if it was, I think it was Burl who had the turquoise truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a nice, 1970, 71 F-150 Highboy. That's a good truck. Yeah. Like that is like an heirloom truck. And I was very impressed to see that. But then you go further along in the movie and the mayor has a nice old Fox body Mustang. You never see those anymore. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of tell that, somebody wanted to show off their cars a little bit. Like, oh, here, use this one. Here, use that one.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. Yeah.
It was one of those things where, because it's my thing when I watch movies, I always see what they're using. And it was a touch out of place, but it was just out of place to make it look right. Because a small town mayor, they're going to drive a nice Fox body Mustang because that's their classic car now.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I would say, I think it's possible that that truck is actually the director's truck. I think Brian might have said something about knowing that truck, and he's seen it before, and it just is Jared's truck. I think he might have said that before.
It's a local truck.
Yeah, you have to go back.
Local celebrity.
Yeah, you have to go back to that episode. But I think he owns that truck. And then in this scene we're talking about where they're partying, they're sitting. It's a Miata, right? That they're sitting inside.
Yeah, first gen Miata.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, wait, isn't that Adam's car?
I wouldn't mind having that in my garage.
Let's not forget about my favorite part, and very random and just hilarious, is it wasn't strippers that came for the party, it was puppies.
Yeah.
The puppy party. And they were like, god damn it, puppies. All right, I'm getting in there. All right, come in. Yeah. And they got all, and they just like had a little puppy cuddling montage, and it was hilarious.
At first Chuck is pissed off and he's like, puppies? Yeah. What else are we gonna do with puppies? And Dale says, I don't know. I'm gonna get in there though. He's like, no, hold on. I'm going first.
Yeah, that was fun. I like that. That was a fun little change.
Yeah, it's a cute little twist. The one thing I'll say about this movie, I like, it is funny. Like, it's undeniably funny, and it's like the one strength this movie has above a lot of independent film. Like, a lot of movies, you know, kind of at this level with this budget can't be this funny. They're just, like, the people involved just aren't funny enough. And they can't afford writers either to be funny for them. So this movie does have, like, above and beyond a really funny cast that can do it on their own. However, the film gets bogged down in not moving forward a lot. Like, I know it sounds like we're spending a lot of time on these scenes, and it's because
there's not much else to talk about.
Right, yeah. Like, it's just because these scenes kind of all blend together in the beginning. Like, even though we get that cold opening with the Yeti killing the three guys, we don't see the Yeti again for a long, long time. And
yeah, I have 2 pages of notes before I say anything about the Yeti again.
Right. And so, like, it's basically just going, like, location to location to location, and they're doing bits, and they're having conflict with people in the bits, but the conflict they're having doesn't necessarily serve the story. All the time they spend fighting with Dan Fetty, and then
that could have been completely cut out.
Right. Like, it's a carryover from the previous film, because, like, Dan Fetty is just, he's their Jim Leahy. He's their foil. You know, he's the guy they fight with in town. But it doesn't necessarily add anything to the actual story, and it just feels like they kind of get bogged down in doing bits. You don't notice it as much, but I think I had this criticism of the first film as well, that, like, at some point it kind of feels like, okay, move it along. Like, it's funny, but, like, I don't know, edit it down maybe. It just,
And it, a lot of it worked because the 3 main characters were good, were funny, but people like Dan Fetty, like, there were so many times where it was just him on screen talking to somebody else, and he's just an asshole, and he wasn't funny, it wasn't entertaining.
Right.
He's just being a dick, and we had to sit there and wait through that.
Yeah.
So many times.
And he doesn't really factor into the end either.
No, at all.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like,
he's a B story or a C story, and then they just abandoned it. Whatever. Yeah. We got to wrap this up.
Yeah. He gets clobbered, and that's it. And then, like, he's just there to get clobbered so Dale can deliver a one-liner, which is funny. It's a funny one-liner.
It was good.
Yeah, it's a good line, but
we never even got to find out if Chuck really did have sex with his sister.
Oh no, he did. He said it way early in the film.
Oh, that's right. He talked about
when
it.
They're drinking off the back of the tailgate. Yeah, he says, "Oh yeah, thank God I remembered that I banged his sister, so I could tell him about it." Because then he goes into graphic detail of, like, yeah, she was a freak. Okay. She liked to do stuff with the butt, and they're like, no, enough, Chuck.
Yeah, nope.
Which I do. That's another Chuck thing that I like, is when he's getting pushback from the group, and in this case, they're telling him, we don't want to hear more about your sex life, and he just hits him with a repressed. It's just, like, kind of the one-word criticisms.
Oh, I didn't catch that before. I really regret not just buying this movie. I rented it for like $3.99. I should have just bought it for $9.99 and had it to go back to and check again.
Yeah. That's the other thing. I don't know when we're gonna, like, see it hit Tubi or anything. So it just, I don't.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know the internal workings of, like, why this film has spent so much time. Again, after 2022, it didn't come out, and it guess spent time on the shelves or whatever, had to be re-edited or something. I don't know. And then it's just now being released to, like, little to no fanfare. Like, we're only talking about it because we like the series. So it's just, I don't know anybody else who's talking about it.
And you would know this better than us, but I mean, even with what we just did with YouTube, I mean, they're making some money off of that, correct?
Yeah, but it's
so you would.
It's the money off YouTube rentals, because it's a general Google Play rental is what it is. And because Google owns YouTube, they just put it on that platform as well.
Okay.
But with that, the money is actually getting kind of like diced up twice before it hits their account, because it'll go, YouTube and Google will take their piece for processing and everything, and then Wild Eye, the distributor, will take their piece,
their cut,
before it gets to Jared and anybody else, any of the producers. So yeah, I don't know, I think they were hoping for like a wider release, and again, like Wild Eye isn't like it's a relatively small distributor, they're not big. I'm trying to think. I think they also do Amityville in Space. It's like another one of their films they put out.
Oh,
yeah,
good one. Another good one.
Yeah, they're not. Actually, their website is almost down right now. But
oops.
So yeah, you have to go on. You have to go on their X, and so they some of their other films are just the absolute dregs of things that, like, things you wouldn't necessarily watch. Catnado, Shark Exorcist. Just, yeah.
All right, I would watch that.
Okay, you would get tricked. You would trick yourself into watching Shark Exorcist. Let me tell you right now, don't watch Shark Exorcist. It's a fucking abysmal film that is also like some dude's like kink film that it
Nope. I will not be part of your kink.
Yeah. It's the writer director's poorly disguised kink as a fucking Shark Exorcist movie.
Now I want to watch it even more.
Well, you go ahead, Ben. I just know that Adam is a normie and he doesn't want to see it.
It's true.
Yeah. You
go ahead and be a degenerate.
Yeah, you can make your own
choices. I've got the house to myself all week. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to put it on after this podcast.
But yeah, a lot of the things that come out of Wild Eye are all of those type of just dog shit fucking films. And like, I do put these Bigfoot films above those films because there is the production value we already talked about and the comedy value. Like, these movies are far funnier than anything else you'll see from Wild Eye. Wild Eye is a lot of films made for $10,000 by people just dicking around in the woods for the most part. Like, they're not, they have value as art and they can be fun, but they're nowhere near as good as this film. And I'm just saying this film is better than Wild Eye and should be released on a bigger platform to a bigger audience with bigger fanfare. That's all I'm saying.
Man. Yeah, I agree. Is it, can they still do that at this point, or is it too late?
Probably too late. Like, yeah, with the fact that the film's already been completed and it's already now under contract by the distributor. Yeah, they would have to like probably buy back their rights if they really cared, and and then redistribute it in a different way. And yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like, in film, you just kind of have to let some things go. You just go, bad deal here, bad deal there. It happens.
Yeah.
We'll get them next time.
Exactly. You move on to your next film and see what you do with that.
I am curious if there's going to be a third one.
I have no idea, because like I said, in my research of trying to find this film, like, there was no social media posting from any of the main figures of this film of like what's next. I don't think Jared Show has any like upcoming IMDb credits, just to like kind of push a project. I don't see anything on the future. I don't. Yeah. Maybe
to be determined.
Maybe as we talked in the last episode, Adam, about elves setting up a sequel. This film also does set up a possible sequel. So, you never.
Oh, it did.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you never take that off the table. You never take the possibility of a sequel off the table, but
Yeah. If somebody comes at them with a bucket of money, they'll make a third one.
Exactly. Gotta hit that Mega Millions. You get that.
Mhm.
you get your Bigfoot 3.
It only takes 7 little numbers.
Yep. In the actual film, we'll jump ahead.
Yeah. Where are we?
Well, we
go.
were at the party, but also we mentioned how they were fighting with Dan Fetty outside the bar.
All right. Yeah.
Then they go to the Beaver County Airport and fight with their pilot.
Kenneth. Yes.
Yeah. And Kenneth does deliver one of the funnier lines in calling Dale Hot Pocket Steve Austin, which just fucking
I didn't catch that either. It's so good.
Yeah, just stuck with me. I love it. But from the airport, we finally make it to the mountain resort. And I do love this introduction of them coming in the wrong door. And Chuck is holding it's not a traffic cone, but it's like a smaller, just kind of, it's just like a smaller cautionary cone.
It's like
for a wet floor.
It's like the cones I use in gym class. Those are the cones that I use.
Sure. Yeah. For either a gym class doing like running drills or basketball drills, or for just like a wet floor. It's just a tiny little orange cone. And now that's his spit cup. And that's funny.
I also loved what they did with the hostess, because I feel like that woman is exactly who you would find at these little tiny ski resorts in March.
Mm-hmm.
Running the front desk would be someone just like that, with that kind of makeup and that kind of character, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
She absolutely nailed that role.
She really did.
Yeah, absolutely. She has the air of a 1990s housewife who sells makeup to her housewife friends. That's the exact air she has. She doesn't have a Pittsburgh accent, surprisingly. She has a Midwest accent. She gives them the "don't you know" type accent.
I never did. I never found her on IMDb. I should have checked and see if she's done anything ever, but probably not. I would assume.
The credits on IMDb for this film are also incomplete, so you have to go through the credits at the end of the film if you really want to.
Okay.
If you really want to find.
I don't think I ever got that far.
Yeah, because I was also trying to find out who Roxy and Moxie were, because they're not listed on the IMDb anyway. You do your own research. But yeah, she comes in and she is kind of the hostess who is supposed to be greeting them and then introducing them to their new boss, Brad. And I kind of like Brad, but we don't get enough of Brad to care
Brad
enough.
should have been in there more. I agree.
Yeah. Brad is the stereotypical like 80s ski resort owner. Like a lot of these characters that we see in the ski resort are all tropey. It's like, it's kind of like they traveled back in time, but also at the same time, because these guys, are stuck in Western PA. Western PA doesn't move itself. So
we're also kind of stuck back in time.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, you did buy a case of beer from 2004, so that tracks.
But yeah, Brad is over enthusiastic. He has a whole lot of big plans, and he needs this Yeti gone so he can deal with it.
Right. And he's only in charge of the resort in the off season when his uncle's not around.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought I was confused about, because I thought the uncle was
right. Yeah. He was like the boss that hired them, but dead, right?
Well, no, not dead, but I thought he was the guy who died in the first film. The brother of the guy in this film.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
That's who
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe we're confused or something, but yeah, I thought, because Brad is Brad not related to the guy who he has hired at this resort? I don't know. It's
Gonna have to go back and watch it again.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it. I can't. Yeah, but he was good. I loved his enthusiasm. He really played his character well, and I wish we would have seen more of him. He could have been a bigger part of that for sure.
Yeah, he's another character that like I wish there was more of, and then he doesn't factor into the ending as well either.
At all.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah. like, yeah, it just kind of, oh, well, you know, like if ifs and buts for candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Yes, we would.
We do get also introduced to DJ Skis. And boy, is DJ Skis fucking pathetic. I also want to preface this, but I believe DJ Skis is wearing a shirt I had in high school.
That is fantastic.
And
there's a non-zero chance that he picked that up at a thrift store, and it's actually your shirt.
That's what I was going to say, because if I was wearing it in high school, there's a good chance, because when he's wearing this blue shirt with the bunch of waves on it and shit, it doesn't fit him. Like his stomach is coming out the bottom. And so it would make sense that a kid who was kind of pretty big in middle school and high school, like I was pushing, like if I was wearing this shirt in middle school, I would have been pushing 6 feet in middle school. So there's a possibility he was wearing, a kid's shirt that just came off a fat kid. and that fat kid was me.
I love this story. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a Beaver County love story.
Oh.
Me and my shirt.
What was the shirt? Can you describe it? Because I don't remember it from the movie. Can you just tell it to me?
It's a button.
Real slow.
I'll tell it for the audience, but don't be gross about it.
All right.
But it's just
I got the house to myself though. Come on.
It's one of the for the audience though. It is one of those button up, not cotton, but not polyester. It's like a blend shirt. And they would usually be like dragon shirts. Almost always they had fucking dragons on them. Yes, I had some that had dragons on them, but this is not the one this one is much more of a Hawaiian blue wave type thing going on. And it's just like the material was bad, but like, again, when you're a big kid, there's only so many things you can buy. There's only so many places you can shop. I was shopping at the Big and Tall store very early in life because that's all that would fit me. And just the quality of clothes there is fucking terrible. They make you a joke. That's where all the big dog shirts come from. Have you seen a big dog shirt in the last 10 years? No. Because they moved away or they became Harbor Bay. I don't know, one of the two. Either way, you don't see the big dog shirts anymore. But I had one or two of those because you have no choice. This is the trauma of a big child.
This got heavy quick.
I'm just telling you. It's the trauma of a big child. It's the monopolization of the fashion industry over big and tall people. We're fucking held at gunpoint by the rest of the fashion industry because there's only DXL, and thank God for China producing just some fucking bum ass clothes that you can get off of Amazon now, because otherwise DXL holds your hostage and they charge you $55 for a pair of shorts. One pair of shorts.
Well, Steve, I came from the complete opposite direction of that because I was very small up until high school. So nothing fit because everything was too big on me.
But that was the style.
And then I was always, even then,
it was style.
Even then, I was a wee lad.
I'm just saying, in the time of Jinko, that would have been the style. So you could have gotten away with wearing Wranglers as Junkos.
Could have. We wouldn't have known any better back then.
Yeah, we were a Lee household. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Burn.
No, actually, no, it would have been Faded Glory, whatever the Walmart stuff was.
Yeah, Faded Glory and Wrangler.
Yeah. But yeah, I had the exact opposite problem because, you'll grow into it. You'll grow into it. Yeah, well, that doesn't help me now. Just walking around in nightshirts like I'm Donald Duck.
Well, hey, you gotta carry your little candle as you go up the stairs for bed.
That's right.
I can picture it now. Oh,
that was my life.
Yeah.
Being a wee lad back in the day.
The other thing I want to point out that is behind DJ Skis is he has a request list behind him. And the first time we see it, it has Du Hast on there twice. So,
oh my God. I could sing that whole song right now. I won't.
Please don't, because I'll just have to edit it.
I won't.
I'll have to edit it out.
Save it for the Patreon.
I will. It's a great lifting song. It still is even now. I'm sure I could deadlift pretty heavy to that.
Yeah, it's still pretty much any new metal from the 90s to the 2000s is just good workout music.
Great.
It still works.
Yes.
It's dumb. Don't think about it. Just listen to Static X and push it, and you're like, fuck yeah, 2 minutes of reps, I can go.
I hate how right you are on that.
From the kind of initial meeting, though, the boys get suited up and ready to go hunt Bigfoot out in the woods, and they split off into two pairs. We get Dale and Chuck off on their own, doing their own thing, and we get Burl and Hilga, and they're all chasing Bigfoot, but at the same time, there's a little bit of chemistry. Uh-oh.
There is a little bit of tension there, isn't there? Yeah.
It's a bit one-sided, though. It's just mostly Hilga with
she's really into him.
With the intention to bone down.
Yeah.
Chuck and Dale, they do run across, I don't know what we classify this as, but it's two mountain bikers who are drinking out of their Yeti traps, which are just bowls full of beer.
Cups. Beer.
But
and I did appreciate when it came to the beer, they were very consistent with what they were drinking.
Oh yeah.
Iron City and Icy Light.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, Iron City is a sponsor of the film. It gets it gets a special thanks at the end. So yeah.
They got their highlights.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, lots of label out for the Icy Lights and the Iron Cities. But Dale and Chuck come across these two mountain bikers, but they appear to be from the 90s, the early 90s. They have the day glow windbreakers on.
Yeah, these are supposed to be like friends of Brad. I remember Hilga mentions that like Brad's friends will come and ride mountain bikes through the trails.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of tracks. I mean, I could see how they kind of parallel Brad in a couple ways. But yeah, they catches them drinking the beer. They, as Chuck and Dale would, they kind of immediately challenge them to either a fight or it becomes angry quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And they eventually concede and decide to, this is pretty funny. They decide to, instead of fighting, they're just going to race down the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
and then right as the race starts, Chuck and Dale are like, you know what? Nah, we're just going to let them go. And the two dudes just take off.
Yeah. And
we'll just fight them next time we see him. We'll just punch him in the kick him in the nuts and, call it a day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very much another kind of 80s, 90s movie trope setup of we're going to race down the mountain is what it is, And it's just very funny. And then, the two douchebag bikers bike off and Dale and Chuck are just like, hey, that's a lot of work for beer. Like, I don't... Nothing against beer.
I love beer.
I love beer. Nothing against beer. But that's a lot of work for beer.
I also loved how the other two bicycles just magically appeared.
Right, yeah.
Without explanation. Yeah. They just, all of a sudden, everybody's on bicycles.
Yeah, that's what else I couldn't remember. I know they were on bikes, but I don't know where the fucking bikes came from.
Right, yeah.
They just showed up.
They just showed up.
The one thing I just wish they would have done to exit that scene, Dale and Chuck, is just toss the bikes over the edge of the path. Just throw them into the woods.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been better.
Yeah. They probably couldn't because it was somebody's bikes, but they just got off the bikes and threw them in the woods. That just feels like a very just dumb bully thing to do. Just throwing bikes in the woods. But yeah, so
Yeah,
the bikers, as they've taken off, and we cut to them at the bottom of the hill celebrating their win, and we get this is where we finally get the Yeti. The Yeti's finally back. It's not. It feels like a long time, but it's actually only like 40 minutes since we last saw the Yeti. It's
pretty long.
It's pretty long, but yay, we see it, and we get some pretty decent blood effects in this. That's the other thing, is like the effects are practical and they're pretty well done.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The one biker gets his fucking arms ripped off out of the Dayglow, windbreaker, which that's a thing you can probably only do so many times. And by that, I mean once. Because I don't know how many of those windbreakers exist, but you can't ruin too many of them.
No. Because I know a lot of guys my age that would kill for one of those. I mean, like, there's a lot of theme parties where those windbreakers would kill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can't be tearing the arms off of those willy-nilly.
Yeah, right.
Which also, now that I think about it, like, this is the way that this Yeti attacked and killed people. God, when we come to the end of the movie, that makes no fucking sense at all.
Yeah, it's a stretch.
Yeah.
It's a stretch.
Yeah, it's a real stretch.
I'm still buying it. I don't care.
Sure.
I think he did it. I know he did it.
Sure. I'm sure he did do it. We're back at a bar, because pretty much every other scene in this movie is at a bar. Just if you're only 2 scenes away from a bar, I think, at any point in this movie.
Yeah.
But
at any point.
2 degrees of a bar with Kevin Bacon.
Right. But we're introduced to Roxy and Moxie as the
promo girls.
The promo girls. The Sugar Hill promo girls.
And they were almost it was a great role for them. Like, in this reality, that would have been 2 super hot chicks to be at Seven Springs in March.
Right.
You would have been super pumped to see them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what they are. They are the 2 hottest girls in Seven Springs. I tried to look them up, just because, like, I didn't know if they were famous or not. They weren't listed on IMDb. One of the girls' name is Bridget Murphy, and that sounds so familiar, but I can't.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Brittany Murphy?
That's probably what it actually is that I am just thinking about Brittany Murphy. But
right,
I don't know. Bridget Murphy just sounds so familiar. I was like, is she like on the news? Is she like a weather girl? Like who is it? I can't place it though. So just, I don't know. Fucking deja vu of hot girl, I guess.
Hot girl deja
It's not a bad
vu.
deja vu to have. That's great.
That's right. That's a good
Jealous.
album name.
Yes, it
Hot
is.
girl deja vu. That's like a fucking Cherry Poppin' Daddy's follow-up CD that never came out.
It is. Oh wow, Cherry Poppin' Daddies. That is pure 90s right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I remember that too.
I'm sticking in the genre of where we're stuck. We're stuck in the 90s. We're doing this.
Good. We are. We're not getting out for a while.
Yeah.
Either.
So as they all leave the bar, now that they've got their coconut drinks from the promo girls,
I forgot about that.
they're on their way out, and they see somebody who looks very, very familiar. And you won't know this, Adam, because you haven't seen the movie, but the guy who is sitting at the table in this scene is played by John E. Layden Jr. He was the bad guy in the original film, playing Mayor Carl Devlin.
Okay.
So he was the bad guy in the original film who owned the Bigfoot, or essentially was keeping a Bigfoot captive.
Ah, okay. All right.
So in this scene, we're introduced to his brother and his
Twin brother.
Yeah, well, obviously twin brother. But yeah, a previously unmentioned twin brother from the first film. Which this is just like again, dumb sequel trope. Like this is something that the film is very good at, is just like biting off, tropes of the 80s, 90s, and sequels of the time.
Yeah.
So it feels very familiar and it's very funny when it happens. And we get
it's fine.
Yeah, we get introduced to his twin brother, and his twin brother is not like his brother. His brother was just like a ruthless businessman and a big game hunter. He is a guy who fishes squirrels out of the toilet, and he's very affable. He's just like, he's completely different from the way he was in the first movie, because he's all smiles and very happy. The one thing that does remain, though, is he has like this huge presence about him, and
huge and like, if you haven't seen this movie yet, physically huge, like a ginormous. How tall is he? 6'5", more than that. Yeah, he might be.
He's somewhere between like 6'5" and 6'8" in real life.
He's ginormous.
Yeah, big old slice of humanity.
And also like, so animated in his face. Like I really do enjoy watching him on screen. Mm-hmm. He's a lot of fun.
I think we may have looked into this before, but he was I
think we did too. Yeah,
like he was kind of a local theater actor for our area.
Yeah,
I think we looked. Yeah, I think we found that out about him maybe. But if he's not, he's still like really great in this role, and the way they film him, even though he is like 6'5", 6'8" or whatever, like the way they film him, he might as well be over 7 feet tall, because they're always filming him at a low angle, and in this bar scene, they're doing reverse shot between him and the three guys. And so like he's filmed at this low angle that makes him incredibly imposing, and he fills the frame. Then when we cut to the reverse shot of the three guys, they're in the bar, and like they can barely peer over this like divider. Like it's kind of like how to explain it to the audience, when you go to a restaurant and there's the kind of marked off booth section that has a bunch of glass dividers. They're on the other side of the divider, and two of them can barely look over the divider, and Chuck has to look through the glass window and is perfectly framed in a little oval. But when you see it, like it makes them all look very small. So it's like, which it's good visual language.
Yeah. Good shots. Yeah. Well done.
Yep. Good shots, and exactly what these Western Pennsylvania ski resorts look like today. Yeah. They definitely have those little dividers in them, just like King's Restaurant.
Right, exactly. I was trying to think of like a good restaurant equivalent, because like I know King's used to do them. There's a couple of Chinese restaurants that do them, but they were all, and I think the Chinese restaurants I'm thinking of were actually like Bob's Big Boy. The Chinese restaurant I'm thinking of was a Bob's Big Boy at one point. So they actually didn't take out the dividers or anything, but all these dividers are actually callbacks to the 90s, because this was smoking section demarcation. That's what this is.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing here is like it's a weird bit of tacky decor now, but it was smoking section demarcation. You see a lot of that in Western PA, because boy, do people love smoking indoors.
Oh, good.
And I appreciated that there's no smoking in here. I'm outside. It's not in the designated area. I absolutely love that, because I've had friends who have to go through that multiple times.
Can't smoke here.
Like that is, yeah. I'm outside. Nope, not here. You got to go over there.
Yeah.
We're all outside. I have had multiple friends have to go through that and deal with that. That was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, that was a good part too.
We get another scene with Dan Fetty, and boy, could this one have just been cut. Like,
just stupid. Just a waste of everyone's time.
We see a whole bunch of dudes drinking Icy Light in a parking lot. Okay.
For no reason. We have no idea why.
Right. No context.
We've never seen them before.
Yeah, never seen them before. But then Dan Fetty shows up, and he's fighting with a girl that he just walked out on a bill for or whatever out of a restaurant.
Yeah.
And I thought the scene was going to be about Dan Fetty gathering up all these fucking drunks and getting taking them to the ski resort.
Right. That would make sense.
But no, Yeah, like he's gonna get all these guys because that was a part of the first film is like Dan Fetty and his boys fought with the other, fought with Burl and Dale and Chuck. That's not what happens. The drunks just get into a back of a pickup truck and leave.
They just go to a strip club.
Yeah. And then, you were talking earlier about the mayor, the new mayor who was the chief of police in the first film. He shows up, in his Mustang, his old Mustang. And then just another kind of like pointless bit of business between the two of them, because it seems like the new mayor is turning his back on our boys because he's trying to get a piece of Dan Fetty's racetrack, illegal racetrack that he has that he keeps.
Yeah. They're racing groundhogs and turtles.
Right, yeah. He's just racing whatever. If it's got 4 legs, it'll run type of shit. Like, it's a funny scene, but it doesn't mean anything to the rest of the film.
Right.
No.
It doesn't move the story along.
Yeah.
No. And it's not that funny. I could have been fine without it.
Because it doesn't add up to anything. I don't think we see the mayor ever again, actually, after this scene.
No, he has nothing to do with the rest of the movie.
Yeah. So it's strange. Yeah, it's strange that none of this adds up to anything, and it just kind of feels it feels off. Like, yeah, the scene's funny at the time when you first see the movie, but like then it doesn't equate to anything. You go, damn, that's a shame.
Yeah. There's no payoff.
Yeah, that's a shame. We get we're back at the ski lodge. The boys are thoroughly fucked up on their coconut drinks. Everybody's looking to go to sleep except for Chuck. Chuck is ready to party. Chuck also has found his newest and best spit glass, and it is a novelty glass in which if you put hot water inside of it, the girl on the glass, her top will come off.
Does he use hot water, Steve?
No, he doesn't. He's going to do the work at him, and he's going to fill it with spit.
That was so stupid. I loved it.
It's so stupid and so gross.
Mm-hmm.
He says, all right, well, I'm going to go party without you, and goes to the empty bar, like the empty ski lodge bar. Again, only 2 scenes away from a bar.
Yep. And I can feel his disappointment. Like, go there, you're out, you're at Seven Springs or Hidden Valley, wherever the fuck you ended up. And you want to party, and there's no one there except for the front desk lady that I mentioned before.
Yeah. Kathy comes.
That's what he gets. Kathy. That's it.
Yep. Kathy comes back into it, knocking off work for the day and looking for her apple teeny, but all she gets is an icy light.
She came around to it. She liked it. She, it took her a second, but she did it.
I also do like Chuck's shirt in this, as it's just a Steelers logo, but it says sleeveless because it's a sleeveless Steelers shirt. Like, it's just knockoff merchandise. It's a sleeveless shirt that says sleeveless, but in the Steelers font.
I didn't catch that either.
Yeah. In the Steelers font with the Steelers. Oh, what are they called? What are the diamonds called, Adam? You know.
Hypocycloids.
Sure. But yeah, that's what it is. It's a fun shirt. I'm sure you can find it on Etsy, or maybe, make your own. Who cares?
The Strip District.
Yeah, make your own.
You could find that in the Strip for sure.
You might not even have to go out inside to buy one. Just find a street corner.
Go to Little Italy Days. We get a decent scene of, Chuck and Kathy getting fucked up, and Kathy just gets
but nothing yet. Nothing happens. Right. Like, I think maybe Chuck was maybe considering it in the beginning, but he eventually everyone gets too sloppy before the night ends. What was he throwing a toilet bowl seat over her head, or like they were playing some kind of game where you toss something.
Yeah, they were playing toilet seat horseshoes because with a plunger as the ringer. Like,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's basically because there's nobody else in this club /bar which is very funny because they still have the club music going. They still have like the dancing disco lights going, you know, like the what do you call it? The bowling after dark, you know, the midnight bowling type lights spinning around the club. And it's just the two of them there. And Kathy is absolutely obliterated. And Chuck is fine, of course. Like, Chuck is unbothered by anything he consumes. He, you know,
Nothing.
We see him huff fucking gas earlier in the movie, and he's talking about sniffing airplane glue. Chuck is fine with whatever, but Kathy is throwing up into a bucket, and then, you know, where a lot of other films would go wrong, you know, there's not a romantic encounter between the two of them. Chuck just goes, "All right, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
I'll go to bed."
Which I love. I thought that was great.
Mhm.
He's like, "All right, go to bed. Bye." She does. I mean, still, she falls in love with him for this. So,
Yes. Yeah. She thought it was going to lead to something more than that, for sure.
another Dan Fetty scene. Just drinking in the Elwood City gazebo. Thinking about Chuck banging his sister.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Followed by another DJ Skis scene.
How does Chuck Fetty learn that did he learn that yet, or no? He hasn't learned that yet.
Yeah.
How does Chuck Fetty find them at the ski resort?
Well, that's the thing. He already knew about it, like many scenes ago. He went to the Beaver County Airport and had that confrontation with the woman.
That's right, with Kenneth.
No.
Oh yeah, with the random secretary.
Yeah.
That was
who was writing poetry.
the airport secretary.
Yeah, he found that out. He found that they were at the ski resort within the first 30 minutes of the film. We're an hour in, and he's still just bumming around Elwood City, getting drunk and getting mad, and just not doing anything about it.
No. Okay.
Yeah, he knows where they're at.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So next day, after Chuck says goodbye to the front desk lady, DJ Skis, I remember this. He does free. He'll check you for ticks for free, which I thought was very nice, especially that time of year.
Yep.
Ticks are pretty prevalent. Western
$20 for dudes.
I missed that.
Yeah.
That's fair though. That's fair.
$20 for dudes. You'll check you for free, but $20 for dudes.
I love the I'm still on like the next morning, and everyone's kind of getting up. They're getting ready to go on their next Bigfoot hunt, and I love because it's kind of like a reoccurring thing from this point forward. But Burl comes out with his vest. It's like they have like a little fashion thing. Is this the time where he came out with like his no, I think maybe he had the poncho on before.
Yeah. Poncho was day one. Yeah.
The poncho was day one, and it's like this camo shawl that the guys made fun of him for a lot, and he kind of got self-conscious about it, and maybe took it off, maybe didn't. And now he comes out with like his like hunting vest.
Yeah.
He's just like trying to wear like functional cool stuff, and every time he comes and shows his funds, he's like, they're like, "Oh, what the fuck you wearing? You going fly fishing or something? What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I love that. Like, that was just fun.
Yeah, like he's the only one that gets bagged on. Like Dale basically dresses the same every day. A flannel.
Every day.
Yeah, a flannel, a vest, and a hat. And Chuck is constantly ripping sleeves off whatever he's wearing. But Burl, the only professional who is trying to, actually do the job properly.
Right. Yeah.
He gets ripped on.
It's just not fair. And you can tell it like he makes it seem like it kind of bothers him, but he kind of doesn't. But he always kind of changes his outfit in the end anyway. Just like really felt for him there.
Yeah. Yeah. A real shame.
Let Burl dress the way he wants to dress. God damn it.
Stop shaming Burl.
Yeah. Let him be who he wants to be.
Yeah. But they once again split off. And this really feels like just a scene that Kurt wasn't available for. and because they say he's already off, just doing his thing. Like, oh, he's already out there. And so it's like, oh, Kurt wasn't available for shooting this day, but
yeah, Kurt's busy. He slept in today.
But yeah, they all split off again. Burl decides to follow Hilga because he feels like something is up. He's suspicious of them being dragged up there. Dale.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Dale gets into his own thing, and he goes looking for raw meat because he's going to try using raw meat instead of beer bowls. And so he finds himself in the kitchen and is confronted by Roxy and Moxie again. And this time, Roxy and Moxie just want to go drink mimosas in the hot tub and invite him along.
Yeah. Yeah, way more receptive than they were the first time they saw the dudes.
Well, the first time they met, it was Dale and Chuck, and the women.
Chuck was too much.
Yeah, the women were turned off by Chuck. Yeah. They kind of like Dale, but they're they're okay with Dale. That's why Dale is the Julian of this, because
you're right. Because the girls love Julian too.
Exactly. Julian can pick up women all the time. Dale can pick up women all the time as well. Burl follows Hilga, and she goes to her room, and there's a little bit of a sitcom. Like, it's just one of those. It's just a sitcom thing where like he's following her, and then she discovers that he's following her, and now, because she already had those pre-established notions about getting it on with Burl, she brings him into this room. And starts. They start doing shots of just alcohol.
Yeah. I love it. What is
Clear
this?
Alcohol.
Yeah. Dale in the hot tub is, having mimosas with the girls. Although it's very clear he's drinking probably Icy Light out of his mimosa glass.
Yes. I thought that was a very nice touch.
Yeah. The one thing I like in this scene, the scene is to serve the fact that Roxy and Moxie reveal finally that people are going missing at the resort. It's not just a mission to go up and find and capture Bigfoot. Now it's become a thing of like, oh, there is a cover up. They're covering up that people are going missing and, likely dying, which we already know. We already know people are dead. So
we saw that
from the first scene.
The original.
Yeah. So we know that, but now finally Dale's clued into it.
I thought they did a good job of when I saw those two hot chicks go in with Dale, I thought it was going to turn like at least maybe semi-sexual to a point.
Yeah.
And it never did. Dale got hooked on what they were going to say about Brad. And then when he pushed them to talk more about Brad, then the girls are already kind of drunk on their mimosas and they start talking about the ex. And then it just goes on from there. And you can tell that once they start talking about the ex, it's never going to come back to anything else. And it's gone from that point forward.
I'm actually kind of surprised. Like it wouldn't serve the scene because the whole scene is the conflict of Dale trying to get the information out of the girls. Yeah. But it also kind of would have been funny if Dale would have had a breakdown about his ex.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. Get emotional too. That would have been even better.
But like
one big therapy session.
Yeah. But like, how it's just kind of finding the way to bridge that way to get him to break down about Katie first. But then, because he's also just on the mission of trying to get the information out of the girls about. So it's hard to write it, and I can see why they did it the way they did it. But also, it just would have been funny. It's a funny image of a shirtless guy with a mimosa glass of beer, fucking weeping. As he's in a hot tub with two hot girls, weeping over a different hot girl. So,
and then from the hot tub scene, I don't want to skip it because I love it so much. Going back to Burl and Hilga, eventually they drink enough, and what phrase does she say? I'm going to I sex you now.
Yeah, I sex you now. I love that line.
And she goes to the bathroom, freshens up a bit, and comes out still the same clothes on and just a silk vest over top of her clothes, which was great. I loved it. I didn't notice it until after the fact, but it was perfect.
It's very funny. She's just wearing she's wearing commando blacks.
With a silk frilly vest over top of it. Super loose, not tight. Just all right, here I am. Now let's go.
You know. There's a little interstitial thing too, as she's in the bathroom freshening up. Burl is going through her bag because she was being protective of the bag, and he thinks that's where the secrets of like why they're up there is in the bag. But all he finds is a fucking voodoo doll of Chuck that says, stupid hair voodoo doll.
I forgot about that.
And he, starts playing with it and, holding a lighter to it. And then we cut to Chuck, who's just wandering out in the woods. And I just wanted to bring it up because it's one of the most Pittsburgh things you can say is he's out in the woods and he goes, somebody cooking kibasi?
I want some of that.
I want some.
And so random to give a Russian woman a voodoo doll and then have his friend light it on fire just to see what it would like. and all the things to do to the voodoo doll, light it on fire.
Hey,
just wild.
Yeah. I mean, he's just playing. He doesn't know anything about it, but like Garrett.
No, he doesn't know anything about it, but it worked. It was real. It's a real voodoo doll, guys. Be careful.
Magic is real. Watch out.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, previously established from the first film, Hilga hates Chuck more than any of them. So, but
you're right.
He just
stupid hair guy.
He comes along as package deal. So we get Burl doing a sexy dance to try and get out of having sex with Hilga.
Oh, yes.
What I love about that is he's doing that right next to the door.
Right.
There's nothing stopping him from just leaving.
Just leaving.
But he's still dancing for like 5-10 minutes.
He was really sweating. He wasn't faking that, man. No. He was red. They were both very red.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. He was like gassed by the time. I don't know if they just did it all as like one 20-minute take or something, but he was absolutely gassed, and like the front of his hair was just sopping wet and matted to his forehead. I've been there, and I know how fat guys get sweaty, and that's real. Can't fake it.
Yeah. The makeup budget would not have gotten that without the real deal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dan Fetty shows up at the front desk and has has an interaction with Kathy. I only want to bring it up just because I love Kathy's reaction when Dan Fetty brings up Chuck. Like once they, because it's clear that Kathy is now starstruck by Chuck, and when Dan Fetty walks away, she just bites the telephone. It's just like she swoons, and it's
oh Chuck,
oh Chuck, just bites the telephone.
She's in love. You can't blame her. No.
Chuck, in the meantime, is out in the woods, and he actually comes across the Yeti.
Yeah, he's checking his beer traps, and and finally, he's confirmed Yeti.
Yeah,
it is indeed a Yeti. It is lost from up north somewhere and got stuck, and now can't find its way home.
Got stuck because there's no snow.
That's right.
Lost its way.
Yep.
So he sees the Yeti kill one guy. Pretty good, just like throat eruption. Just like blood spraying all over there. Mm-hmm. And then we get a chase scene between the Yeti and Chuck. And
this is fun.
Boy,
I like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy, it's both fun and it's using the space you're working in. Is it Seven Springs or Hidden Valley that has the golf course, Adam?
Seven Springs has it.
Okay. Yeah. So there is a golf course in Seven Springs for people who are just like on vacation during the off season to use. And they are running through the golf course, and Chuck takes off in a golf cart that was left unattended.
This is probably my favorite scene of the whole movie. Just like this whole slow motion chase scene of Chuck driving, and does the Yeti kill the golfers?
I believe he does.
I think he does. And then at one point, Yeti takes a golf cart and is driving the golf cart after Chuck. Just great.
Mhm.
I love
I
it.
do love during this chase though. Chuck is on his way. You know what? I don't actually think the Yeti kills the golfers. Yeah, I don't think that
No?
actually happened. Yeah, but we just see two guys shrug their shoulders like,
Okay.
"Hey, we did."
Yeah. Hey,
Oh,
my
yeah.
car.
Take
There
our
goes the
car.
Stop
Yeti.
it.
Yeah. Also during this chase scene, Chuck does run across just two women sitting out on their porch, having just having drinks, and he drives past them, throws the golf cart in reverse to back up to them, and skyhooks a beer their direction like a beer commercial, except the beer lands way short and still in frame, and you see it explode. It's just like, it's such a great framing of just seeing the beer fucking explode from the bottom of the frame and completely missing them. And the girl's expressions don't change the entire time. It's the funniest fucking thing.
Now, do you think that was planned that way, or is that just the way it worked out? Or did he know that it was going to fall super short, it's going to explode,
I think
and no one moved, no one react?
I think it was planned that he was going to throw super short, but he just got lucky that the beer exploded on that take.
Oh, it's perfect.
It was, yeah. It's just one of those things that happens, and it happened, and they probably did multiple takes, but obviously that's the best one because that's the one where it explodes up in the frame and is super short.
It's great. And just fits his personality and his whole persona so well. Just
Right, yeah,
driving,
yeah.
stopping, throwing some, trying to share a beer, but woefully inept and explodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chuck is, the epitome of just the shotgun approach.
Yeah.
Just like, he's the Wayne Gretzky of chasing women. Like, yeah, he does make some shots, but he takes 100% of his shots.
Fuck yeah.
Leave no stone unturned.
Yeah, brother.
So, yeah, he takes every shot, and a lot of them go bad, but he still makes some because he fucked Dan Fetty's sister. So,
Love that for him.
so the chase scene, Dale hears the chase as they drive by. The chase scene leads everyone back to the lodge, back to the bar, and that includes the Yeti. And we get a showdown, and also Dan Fetty's there. And at this point, the Yeti costume is so bad. Like, we can just tell it's like not a good costume
Yeah.
because the mouth isn't articulated.
It's just
The
it's
eyes-
stuck wide open.
Yeah, it's stuck wide open. It looks like a monster. It looks like a really bad version of the monster at the monster in Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
The one that is at the very end of the film, still hitching a ride on the Pork Chop Express. That big Chewbacca looking like monster. It looks a lot like that, but like the one you would buy at Party City for yourself. So, but yeah, it's a bad costume. Everybody gets into the confrontation with the Yeti. They're ready to fight it and take it down, even though they have no weapons. Hilga gets decapitated just out of nowhere.
Yeah, just boop, done.
Yeah. It felt, I don't know, it felt really unceremonious.
It did. She was a big part, and you could barely recognize her decapitated head. Like, no one mentioned her name. It was just like a woman with brown hair. And then Burl talks about it after, but it was like it was nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nothing. It was all in service of just throwing the head at Dan Fetty and knocking him down as he ran away.
Yeah, that was it. They just needed a head.
So, yeah. And so Dale could deliver his line, which is, first time Dan Fetty's got some head. Which, hey, all right.
That's a good line.
It's good, but it's not that good. Not for Hilga to die like that. Not to go out like that. Not Hilga. No.
For everything leading up to that, yeah, it's not great. Like,
Right.
Like, it could have been Brad, but it wasn't Brad because Brad wasn't there on that shooting day.
It should have been Brad. That would have been better.
Yeah. Like, Brad is technically in this scene, but he's not on this shooting day. He's not in the same time space as everybody else. He's behind the bar.
I would have loved
like,
to have
on
seen
his own.
I would have loved to have seen Hilga come back and have like a big part in the death of the Yeti. like
Mhm.
some big kind of just savior thing. I don't know, or like sacrifice herself for Burl. That would have been cool. Something
Right,
like that.
yeah.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just something more like, yeah, if she was the one who got clawed out in the woods trying to save Burl.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm.
sure, yeah. But yeah, again, it's just one of those things, like, it feels like time was running out. Like, it happens, and they just had to go with what they had. Like, this is yeah, it doesn't feel as tightly written at the end.
No, it
And they
really
just kind of
doesn't.
go with it.
My note, and I've learned this. I've been on enough podcasts with you guys and made enough notes about movies that I can tell when movies get loose. My notes get wider space between each other, and my bullet points start to disappear. And I cover a lot of movie in this last like little page, and
Right.
It's easy. It gets easy at the end. The last like 30 minutes are pretty. They're simple.
Yeah, it is pretty simple. We're already in kind of the last confrontation. We get a scene where DJ Skis gets his throat cut, and hey, it's whatever. It's just kind of a transition to get us out into the woods to the final confrontation between the three guys and the Yeti. And they just have like a little bit of a fight scene, and Burl gets cut down, and we go, oh no, not Burl. Like, he's, we already saw one person we didn't think would die unceremoniously. Are we going to kill Burl? That would be weird for the director to kill himself in his own movie. So we, on one half, we go, oh no, not Burl. But on the other hand, we're like, yeah, he's not dead.
He's
dead.
fine.
Yeah.
He'll be all right.
It's one of the key three. He can't die.
Yeah. Like, but mostly anybody with a name in this film doesn't die.
And at this point, Chuck is Burl confronts the Yeti first solo. When do Chuck and Dale go back and try and find weapons? Is it after Burl gets cut down, or they all kind of happen at the same time?
It all happens after they leave the lodge.
Okay.
So they all, because Burl goes to run to get his gun, but somebody has taken the bullets out of his gun. We assume Hilga.
And then Dale and Chuck realize that someone also stole all the weapons from them as well.
Right. Somebody had taken all their rifles.
Did we ever find out who?
No, you just assume that it is. You just assume it's the twin brother snuck into their cabin and stole their rifles.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to assume it. You make it up for yourself. Like, because there's no scene of him doing it. And
he never mentions it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is unclear because it's like, oh, was it Brad? Was it Hilga? What, who? But you just make the assumption of the shortest path for yourself that the twin brother snuck in and stole it.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that Chuck, he did stash the dumbest weapons he could underneath the sofa, and comes back with a samurai sword, some ninja stars, and my favorite part is a balaclava, just like a hood with a sin strap, so he can kind of look like a ninja.
Right. Yes.
And that's what he's going to bring to the final fight.
Right. There's also 2 cans of Iron City as well with the sword. Like, there's still Iron City with the swords and shit. And then Dale has to take the pipe wrench from underneath the sink. Like, because there's no other weapons, he just takes the pipe wrench. But yeah, you're right. Burl confronted the Yeti on his own, and he gets clawed down.
Clawed down. These guys come right in his back up, and then the fight ensues.
Yeah. And then the fight seemingly ends pretty quickly because
really anticlimactic.
As you and I, Ben, know from the first film, the ending to the first film is rather explosive.
Yes.
The end to this fight is simple clobber in the back of the head. Yeah. And it goes, that's it? He just clunked him? He just gave him a clobber?
Which does, now in hindsight, now that we know we're going to talk about the end of the movie in a second, that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
You thunk a
Right.
guy with a pipe wrench. Yeah, they're gonna. But
He going
it
down.
Also, but that guy
Yeah.
can't rip arms off and stuff. But well,
Right. Well, yeah, that is up to
that's a problem.
that's up to interpretation.
Right.
But
right.
yeah, the fun, being so easy to clobber, as well as it also makes sense as to why the Yeti was able to use a golf cart to chase Chuck.
Yeah. Oh my
Because
gosh!
it
Right.
was just-
How would they know
yeah.
how to drive? Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, it adds up.
Dang it.
And it adds up to being a guy in a suit, which it is, because we learn, it is the twin brother the whole time.
It is
Even though he came
yeah.
off as nice and affable when we're first introduced, he's actually evil.
The 6'8" giant man is the Yeti in a costume. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, he's not evil like his brother is, but he's more just
Yeah, he's angry.
We're-
He's
revenge driven.
yes.
Yeah, because we learn he was in love with the original Bigfoot from the first film.
Which is great. That's a fun angle to play. And not like it wasn't like, it was just like he describes it as it was my best friend. Does he say the sex of the Sasquatch? Was it a woman, a man? Does
Yeah,
he say-
he did,
it was
yes.
female.
it's a
Yeah.
female? He she understood me. And then at the very end of his little speech, he's like, we loved each other. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
take that as you will.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
All of that basically falls on deaf ears to Chuck and Dale, though.
Yeah, they don't.
they kind of don't care.
No.
And there's a moment here where I had to wonder, did these guys listen to our podcast before making this movie? Because
Tell
Chuck
me how.
goes on a protracted rant about Friday the 13th Part 5. And that's not a rant that I hear many people go on, but it's definitely a rant I go on because I always triumph that film for being an American giallo film that's outside of the series.
Holy shit.
It is like I enjoy that film a lot more than most people do.
Yeah.
Chuck also brings up the fact that it has the best boobs, and that's true because there's a woman that has just like double D cannons in that film, and I think they probably are the biggest boobs of the series until you get to 2009. The 2009 remake.
I'm glad you've done this.
I'm learning
boob
so
math.
much.
Boob math
Yeah.
for us.
I'm just saying, look. It's a film I champion. It's got a lot of the best things about it. It's got like a different psychological element that you won't find in any of the other films.
Yeah.
It-
And it's
it is set up-
exactly, yeah. And they talk about it. That is his little speech at the end. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, do they know this? Or
Or is it
did
just
they
make,
listen to our
yeah. And this
Yeah, were they
would be a
listening to our
great
show?
thing be a great thing to add right now.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be a stretch for them to like just when that first movie came out, search anyone that talked about it. And I don't think
Right.
many people were, except for Halloween is Forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the first movie came out in didn't the first movie come out in 2015 maybe? Yeah.
I don't know.
So like we did our show 2020, 2021 or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So we were still like 6 years after the film
Yeah.
initially released. But yeah. We don't show up in the special thanks, so I don't think they actually took it from us. But it's just a very funny speech to give that
It
hits
is a
close to
very-
home with me that I
Very
love.
funny, very random. And I don't know. I like that story. I'm going to go with that. I think that's where that came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Chuck stole that from me because I'm always
Thank you for
talking
being
about-
a contributor, Steve.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I'm glad I was able to give something back to the community. But yeah, from there, they wish Burl off, and they see him off into the ambulance, and they
The
see
fat saved him.
Yeah, the
He
fat
didn't-
saved
he
him.
didn't die because he was so fat.
Yeah. And one of the ambulance driver is also one of the bikers from earlier in the film without a mustache.
Dang it. Oh yeah, and how did they asked Melvin how'd you make that Yeti suit smell so much like a Yeti, like a Bigfoot? Oh, he farted in it.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, he farted in it. All right, cool. All right, that makes sense.
It's farting in it. Yep. So everything's wrapped up. The day is saved, and we get one final scene. This is our prelude to the possible trilogy, threequel, however you want to look about it.
They go back to
possible.
the garage where the original party happened.
Mm-hmm. And there were some hints about this at the beginning of the film, because like they're suspicious of Chuck, because like Chuck is, I think like Chuck in the original film was just living in a trailer, and now he's like, spruced up this garage into like a livable space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I missed that,
like,
but that makes sense now.
Yeah, so they made an allusion to that, and then there is a quick conversation between Dale and Chuck about should we tell him, and they don't expand upon what they should tell him. But now we find out what should he tell him, and what they reveal is that Chuck, in this new livable space that he's constructed, has been keeping the son of the Bigfoot.
Wendell.
Wendell.
Yeah, he's named Wendell.
I love that its name is Wendell. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. We don't see it fully. We just kind of see it from
you get
behind.
like a POV.
And yeah. And it's it's basically as big as them. Like it's not a fully grown Bigfoot. So like, if they make a threequel, it would be very funny. It would be very, very funny to have a smaller Bigfoot wearing like a jean jacket vest and a headband like Chuck.
Like a Teen Wolf kind of thing.
Yeah, just a real Teen Wolf type of shit. Like there's a lot there to be very funny with.
I hope they try.
I hope they try to. I don't know what they'll do.
It kind of sounds like with this second one, with this sequel, they like, I don't know, it could have been so much more, but it just kind of fizzled, and they weren't able to capitalize it on like I think they should have.
Yeah, it's a very entertaining film, and they're shooting so big. That's the thing, is like they're shooting for the stars. It's just when you shoot that big, it's sometimes just shit falls apart, and things don't work, and like shooting days don't line up, and that's why you get the weird thing with like Brad in the final confrontation, where everything with Brad is him by himself behind the bar, and it's like he's just
wow.
Yeah, he's just yelling into the ether because they just could only shoot him those days. And like DJ Skis is obviously, he was a 2-day shoot, if that. Like, they had him
same scene go into over and over and over again. Yeah.
They had him improv different shirts in that DJ booth for, a couple hours. You cut out what's the best of that stuff, and then you shoot your scene where he gets his throat ripped out outside of the DJ booth. Yeah. So, yeah, and that's the other thing of like why there's so many scenes of like, just like Dale is in the hot tub with the two girls, because you can schedule Dale and two girls differently than you have to schedule Kurt. And then Kurt, has his own Pittsburgh dad schedule, so you have to schedule against that. And then, so yeah, it's a lot of moving parts. It's fucking hard to do. It's fucking hard to do. It really is. But, sometimes things break down. But on the other hand, the movie's still just very funny and entertaining. So
yeah, more people should see it. I hope more people get the opportunity. I hope it becomes easier to watch, because I feel like a lot of local Pittsburgh people would really enjoy it, and people from everywhere would enjoy it.
Yeah. It definitely like deserves an audience.
Yes, it does.
It's just, it has an audience in us because we enjoy it. And, the first Bigfoot movie I remember that being like a lot bigger deal.
Yes, me too.
When it first came out. Yeah. And so it doesn't feel great that like, we're struggling to kind of prop this one up. But
find it, watch it,
yeah, it's out there now.
Yeah.
Now you can watch it.
Yeah.
You can rent it for $4. That's
That's standard.
Yeah, you'll get your money's worth.
Yes, you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. That's money well spent.
One fun thing I wanted to bring up in the credits, because I watched them I was watching them just to see who all worked on the film and everything. There is a very funny credit in here called Mullet and Rat Tail Handlers.
As a joke? That's a joke, right?
No, I mean, I don't think it is. Like, there's, you have...
Because Burl, does Burl's, I saw he still has a huge rat tail, right?
Yeah, he still has a huge rat tail. It doesn't come out always.
Right, I
but
saw
it's definitely
glimpses
out.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely out in some scenes. And so I'm just assuming it's just like, because the hairstylist, Brooke Schwartz.
She just took that title as well.
Yeah, Brooke Schwartz is the hairstylist, so she did everybody's hair, but also, keep track of the mullets and the rat tail so they don't get lost.
Oh, that's great.
So,
that alone, that alone would make people want to watch this. If people knew that there was a mullet and rat tail handler on. Yeah,
there's four. There's four.
That's so many. There's a lot of mullets and rat tails.
Yeah. But,
yeah, it was fun. Still not as fun as the first one,
was.
I think. But I don't know. Talking about it now makes me like this one even more. So.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that I need to go back and watch the original then.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. You'll really if you liked this one, you'll love the first one. And
okay. All right.
Guess what? The first one's free on Tubi. So
I did notice that.
Is there any money to be made on Tubi once you're there?
There is no money. I'll tell you that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance, there's something.
The person that really asked about that is, again, the director of Shingles and Carousel, because Steve Rosinski, he distributes all his own films. So yeah, it would be like you would have to ask him what kind of money does he get, and like how does the money pay out on Tubi if you do get money, because I'm assuming you do.
You would have to have something,
right?
Yeah, because I assume they have to buy the media rights to stream your film, and like Tubi will take anything. So
yes, they will.
Got to build that library.
Yeah, but I don't think Tubi pays you up front for the media rights. I think you probably get into
maybe the more popular you are, the more money you get.
Oh yeah,
that kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like if you're like, okay, Tubi will pay money up front for like a media rights deal and it's usually a lot of packages that are bought as well. So like, Tubi will buy like a media rights package for, X amount of films from like a big studio. And then they have those. Yeah, they'll have those films for a month or a year or whatever. And then I assume smaller indie producers, like Steve Rosinski, he can just submits his films as he makes them. And then he probably signs, you would have to ask him, because I can be wrong about this, but I assume it is like a contract of per play. And, however many plays beyond a certain time length, he might get a cut of.
Okay.
Because it would also be based on, because Tubi's free, everything is ads. So it would be based on ad revenue in a way.
But as you mentioned, that so much that is on Tubi is very terrible. And I'm sure people watch a lot of 5 minutes of movies and turn them off. But the movies that get extra playtime, certainly deserve more than the movies that no one ever picks, no one ever watches.
Yeah. Again, this is all just assumption on my part. But again, like if you're watching something that's so fucking bad, you shut it off before you even make it to the first commercial break.
Yeah.
That might not be counted in Tubi's calculations, because they're like, well, they didn't even watch the ad that went along with that, so fuck off.
Yeah.
But if you watch the entire film and say they get 3 ad plays within an 80-minute film, then maybe you collect on 3 ad plays. So,
And I think I've even heard of that
Again,
with YouTube too.
as
Like,
some, yeah,
YouTube,
Yeah, YouTube does something similar.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
You got to
yeah,
watch X
yeah.
amount of seconds or X amount of minutes to get like your full
Mhm.
pay.
Right.
Mhm. Right. But yeah, but I don't think YouTube, because YouTube usually front loads ads, I think they automatically will pay you for a play.
Yes.
Because you'll have the ad front loaded, then you'll skip the ad, and then you'll watch a little bit of the video. But just getting a play gets you some money
Mhm.
if you're big enough to even collect money, because YouTube has now fucking made it almost impossible to make money off them anyway. You have to have 1,000 subscribers before you can even like begin to make money.
Right.
So yeah, fucking sucks. The media space is not great, but yeah. Anything I said about Tubi is very possibly wrong, and just ask somebody who actually submits films to them.
Well, you sounded confident when you said it, so
I'm just
willing
curious,
to
and
believe
I'm so curious. Like, just always want to know how that whole system works.
Yeah. All I'm saying is just based off other models like YouTube and Spotify.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's always all based off of fucking ad revenue anyway.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
It's all about the ads.
Yep.
Ugh.
But that was Bigfoot the movie, the sequel.
Yeah.
Did you guys have anything else you wanted to get to? Any other like lines that made you laugh? Because I mean, the movie is full of fucking funny lines.
There was one at the very end that I remember. I didn't even write it down, but I forget what happened to the beer. Maybe it was like sitting out for a while, but it was one of the last scenes, and they said to sanitize it. And what did he do? Did you just like? I think he just blew in the can.
Oh yeah, he just blew
Yeah.
the dust off the top.
Yeah. And then whatever, it's fine. It's sanitized. All right. And then he drank.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep, just blew the dust off the top of it.
Well, the one thing I really like, and we talked about this multiple times, the one thing I liked about this movie is there's all these little things that you can pay attention to, these little Easter eggs and these little, like the spit cup. There's all these little things that keeps you engaged.
Mhm.
That's what I really liked about this movie. Like, let's be honest, the story, it's pretty, it's not particularly creative. But the way they did it, the way they kept you engaged with all these little things, these little quips, fantastic.
Yeah.
It was very well done.
Yeah, they definitely know what they're doing, and it's just like I wish they could get kind of like it's one of those things like, could you imagine this film? We say, I've been saying it more and more on this show, but like, imagine this film with $5 million behind it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I assume this movie was made for under $1 million easy, and maybe even made for under $500,000. But this could also easily be a $500,000 film. But
yeah,
like I just always like when you find a really good independent film that just has like rough edges and stuff to it, and then I'm just like, okay, well, use your fucking imagination for a second and imagine this film with $5 million behind it, and then you go, oh yeah, that movie would be so fucking great. Okay,
right.
like when you can tell how a movie would scale up to be great otherwise, because I mean, all $5 million would do for this film is make the effects a little better, give them proper shooting time so they could properly rent everything out.
Yeah. Pay people to be there and make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
May even afford them the ability to shoot during the season so there's snow on the ground.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine? And then bring in some more guest stars. Maybe you get a Donnie Iris cameo.
Yeah.
So you see a film and it's pretty good, and then just say, oh, well, if it had $5 million, it would be fucking great. So
Yes.
you can't get mad at it. Other films you can watch, like Shark Exorcist, you go, it doesn't matter how much money you pump into this, it's fucking gross, dumb pervert stuff, and it doesn't matter.
God, I'm so reminded me about. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I forgot. I'm not going to bed. I'm gonna watch Shark Exorcist.
Knock yourself out. It's just fucking I'll tell the audience, the kink is ladies in bathing suits having seizures.
Wow, that is a very narrow band.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no. I'm going to sleep.
But yeah, so again, it's a good film. Definitely check out the first one, and cross your fingers for a third.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I want to see Wendell grow up real bad.
Yeah.
With a $5 million budget.
Yes, with a $5 million budget.
With the return they got on this one, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Probably.
And they got my $4.
Yeah, they got Adam's 4. They
Mine
got
too.
they got my 4. So
We're helping.
that's $12. You guys can't.
All right.
Hey, you can't make a movie for $12. What you doing?
Hey, that's almost a case of I see light, so they're well on their way.
Yeah, that's your catering covering right there.
You are welcome.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
I want to thank Ben and Adam for joining me once again. And
No, our
Yes,
pleasure.
thank you for having us on.
Ben, I'm not saying you're forgiven by me.
No,
And
you did. Yeah, just say it.
and I know you're not forgiven by Brian. But
I wish he was here. I would like to talk to him too.
yeah, but we'll see if we can mend that fence down the way.
You're gonna need me. There's gonna be another Bigfoot movie that someone's gonna have to talk about with you.
Look, yeah, I know that.
He's
I know
got
it's
you
gonna
there.
happen.
He's
I'm
got
not-
you there.
I'm the guy.
I'm not giving up my resource of my Bigfoot expert.
Thank you.
But also, you got to mend that fence with Brian. So
We'll talk about it.
Perhaps some cookies or some brownies.
yeah. Do you guys have anything you wanted to plug before we go?
No. Same as last time. You know, it's the holidays. Donate to your local humane society.
Yeah,
Oh,
You know.
that's nice.
Give the dogs and cats a little extra love.
there you go.
Yeah,
All right.
they're cold this time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give them some extra scritches.
All right. Well, for that, I'll say make sure you go follow Halloween is Forever on all the social medias and sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/HalloweenIsForever. Get that extra podcast, get that extra vote. And with that, I'll say for the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Steve.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Adam.
Well, bye-bye. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.